Ladies and gentlemen, baby faces, and all my true heels out there, I am Richie Moon. This is True Heel Heat Wrestling. And before I get into my amazing Raw review, hit the like, share, and subscribe to the latest and greatest in True Heel Heat Wrestling news. Raw started off on a somber note this week because we are still feeling the effects of the late, great Pat Patterson. Raw started off with a 10-bell salute dedicated in the memory of Pat Patterson. Then Raw kicked off properly. Oh my gosh, with what a banger. Instant classic 5-star match. This should have been the headline of WrestleMania. It started off with a great Randy Orton promo. There wasn't a match. It started off with a Randy Orton promo because what a crazy idea. Why would you start your wrestling show with a wrestling match? But no blame to Randy Orton. Randy Orton came out there and was recapping what happened between him and the Fiend last week. And we also got a new game show. So before Randy Orton can get out of there, the Firefly Funhouse came out and Bray Wyatt Rogers introduced to a new game show called Let's Get Randy. I mean, listen, for me, honestly, this segment was a total miss, but Bray Wyatt Rogers, he is such a jewel. He knows his character. He knows the right amount of goofy wrestling stuff to do. He had the carcass of Friendship the Frog in there. He had the mallet from the Sister Abigail Randy Orton feud back in the day, and it was just really funny. It was just really good stuff. And apparently, Mr. Randy Orton has been so mean to Little Miss Bliss that she wasn't there this week. But I'm pretty sure we'll see her next week. And in the main event, we're going to get Bray Wyatt Rogers versus Randy Orton. And what they've really done with the character of Bray Wyatt Rogers is made him feel like a minion before you get to the Fiend, which I really think is awesome because usually these kind of matches undermine the match that you have at your upcoming pay-per-view, but instead this enhances it, making Bray Wyatt Rogers feel like a minion and then Fiend be the boss. Next up, we got a video package recapping the feud between Asuka, Lana, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler. And the next matchup we're gonna get is between Shayna Baszler and Asuka. Now, just ride me for a second. Rewind to about 3.5, 4 years ago. Shayna Baszler versus Asuka, are you kidding me? Two of the most dominant NXT Women's Champions of all time. Shayna Baszler went on like an 11th month winning streak. Asuka went her entire NXT career and was champion and was never defeated. You know, the right booking, the right setting, this could be a pay-per-view headliner. You know, they like to throw out these casual lines. Oh, this could headline WrestleMania. If you book this right and give these two women the proper feud, maybe this could. It's just truly an indictment on WWE's booking that Shayna Baszler versus Asuka, a match between two of your best wrestlers, is just the backdrop for a comedy feud between Lana and Nia Jax. I mean, all right, well, first off, the first 5 minutes of this match was completely awesome. It's everything that it should be. Shayna Baszler versus Asuka, trading submissions, hitting back and forth. This really seemed like more of like a New Japan match than a WWE match. It's really hard-hitting submission matches. Then, of course, the shenanigans entail. For some reason, when something happens on the outside of the ring, wrestlers completely forget that they're having a match in ring competition, and then they just get completely distracted. So after the 5 minutes, all of a sudden the quality of the match just completely drops. Nia Jax goes after Lana. Lana goes after Nia Jax, but then Nia Jax catches her in a powerbomb position. But then Lana hits her with the Lana Karana, Karana, Lana. I just did the Lana. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm sorry. I apologize. But anyway, she throws Nia Jax into the table off the Hurricanrana, and Shayna Baszler is just so mind blown off this, but she can't keep her eyes off of this. And then Asuka, of course, comes behind her, rolls her up, shout out Simon Miller to hit her with the most devastating move in all of pro wrestling, the surprise roll up. Listen, if there's two moves that wrestlers never ever kick out in all of pro wrestling, that is Kenny Omega's One Wing Angel and the devastating surprise roll up. Seriously? Really? Come on, can we get another finish? I can't even stop doing the thing with the hands because when you do the surprise roll-up thing with the hands, with that, I gotta do the hands. Stop, I don't wanna do the hands. Hashtag stop the hand. And next up, we seen the Hurt Business walking backstage. And I'm not sure if this guy was trying to fold up boxes or he's trying to pick up something, but they were just they were kind of just being dicks to him. They were just really being bullies to him. And Cedric Alexander just yelling at him. And then he tried to go this way. Then Bobby Lashley grabbed him and threw him that way. I guess it's just to show that the Hurt Business are 4 good-looking black guys that are tough, that bully people. I got nothing else for that. Then we cut to Matt Riddle trying to give Dana Brooke and Ricochet some of his bro nuts. Now last week he tried to offer MVP some bro nuts. That didn't necessarily end up good for the broster. And Ricochet and Dana Brooke were really focused on their match that they have with Slapjack and Reckoning, so they really weren't trying to hear him anything. Would somebody just pay attention to Matt Riddle trying to give people bro nuts? I mean, look at him. You got little mountains on his stomach, so obviously the bro nuts don't cause that much fat, cholesterol, protein, whatever. Somebody give Matt Riddle a call for the bro nuts. Matter of fact, somebody hand my phone. I'm gonna call Matt Riddle now. Tell Riddle that True Heel Heat wants some of those bro nuts. All right. Next up, we did get the aforementioned match with Ricochet and Dana Brooke versus Slapjack and Reckoning, and they're flanked by Ali, and Reckoning's mask is on a lot tighter. I'm pretty sure she got like a different design. And honestly, there's not much to say about this. It seems like WWE was building up Retribution and then they just stopped, because the last couple of weeks they have lost in less than 5 minutes. And it's not even like a distraction. It's not a reason. They literally just get beat clean as a whistle. Dana Brooke squashed Reckoning in the match, clean as a whistle. We were building up to Reckoning versus Asuka for a new contender for Asuka's WWE Women's Championship. I don't think that's the case now, because Reckoning has lost clean as a whistle in the middle of the ring. No distractions, nothing. So, I mean, Retribution, just poor Ali. They actually have so many talented people in that faction. Take off the mask, give them their real names, give them a real purpose. I mean, just Po Ali. But then next we did get another backstage segment, and it was Sheamus there. Can anybody tell me, does anybody know why Sheamus is dressed up like the coach from Rocky? I mean, I know he's all Irish and look at the fighting Irishman, but not all of them wear like top hats and coats like that. I'm just saying. But Keith Lee goes up to Sheamus backstage and is just like, yo, dude, we all know that you're going to eventually turn on Drew McIntyre. And here's my thing. I can understand through Sheamus's past transgressions why they would think that. But recently, what has Sheamus done to make you think that? He's been there for his boy. He talks nothing but good whether Drew McIntyre is there or not. And he gave him a bloody sword. What has Sheamus done to make you think that he's going to turn his back on him? And at this point, if he turns his back on him, it's going to be like, oh, we knew that you were going to turn your back on him because the commentators and every single wrestler, anytime you give him a mic, said that you're going to turn your back on him. So at this point, I really hope Sheamus doesn't turn his back on Drew McIntyre. Maybe it might be Keith Lee. Maybe the Glorious One is getting a bit of a heel turn. Next up, it was Miz TV. And they had AJ Styles on there, and I'm just going to be straight up. This segment was a complete miss. It was really, really bad wrestling comedy. They were up there doing these Irish accents, and then Sheamus came out there, and then Drew McIntyre came out there, and they all just beat them down. And honestly, I'm giving it to you straight like this because this segment was really bad. Next, please. Next up, to continue their ongoing feud, because there's literally no other tag teams they have, it was Shelton Benjamin versus Kofi Kingston. I mean, listen, Shelton Benjamin and Kofi Kingston are always going to give you a good, exciting, back and forth match. Kofi Kingston ends up winning this match with a Trouble in Paradise, but this new fired up Cedric is just like, I'm not having it, and he challenged Kofi Kingston to a match right after. Now, Xavier Woods, rightly so, was just like, dude, you're a better man than me. Why are you going to do that? And not to mention that during the match with Shelton Benjamin and Kofi Kingston, Kofi Kingston actually kind of tweaked his knee, but he took the match with Cedric Alexander, and of course, Cedric Alexander wins this with a lumbar check. In the last 2 weeks, Cedric Alexander has beaten Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, and I think for all intents and purposes, the Hurt Business deserve another championship opportunity at the New Day, because single-handedly, Cedric Alexander has beaten both of them. Now, like I said in aforementioned other videos, I think this is an awesome feud. The problem is you only have these two tag teams, so they're literally just going to run this feud into the ground. WWE, just get some more tag teams. Let me see. You have Retribution. Why not make T-Bar and Slapjack a tag team? Like, come on. You have all the talent in the world. WWE, just use them. This match was great. Both of the matches were really good. Both of the matches were hitting. But once again, WWE, make some other tag teams so we don't have to see the New Day versus Hurt Business in different variations every single week. Okay? Next up, we had another tribute to Pat Patterson. And honestly, I think this was personally one of the best ones. It was a montage of him singing My Way, and it was showing various clips and pictures of him and tweets from various WWE superstars, past and present. They were showing a lot of pictures of him and Mean Gene and a lot of our other WWE alumni that have unfortunately passed throughout the years. I really think this was a fitting and emotional tribute. Next up, we had a 2-on-3 handicap match with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus AJ Styles, The Miz, and John Morrison. This was a fun match. This was really a fun match. I love how AJ Styles just avoided getting in the ring just as much as possible. You know, he got almost on the outside for extra backup. And this was really Drew McIntyre and Sheamus just beating the crap out of John Morrison and Miz. They're just throwing them all over, just kicking them, slapping them. They're just having a really good time. Fast forward to a little bit in the match. Sheamus is going to go for a bro kick on John Morrison. John Morrison moves out of the way. Boom! Bro kick right to Miz. Then, out of nowhere, blind tag, phenomenal forearm, 1, 2, 3. Those two lose the match. And that was kind of the whole story of the match. But I was really enjoying how WWE was playing this up so subtle. You would see that Drew McIntyre, aforementioned before, that they were friends. They've been friends for a long time. Sheamus gave him the sword. And we all knew that Sheamus was eventually going to turn on Drew McIntyre. But the way that WWE were playing this out was really cool. It was very subtle. It was very cool. It was a really slow build. And all of a sudden, they just figured, we're just going to crap the bed and just throw all on you. They were very much show and don't tell, and now this week they're just like tell. I personally think it would be better storytelling if Sheamus does not turn on him because everybody thinks he is. But hey, you know what? I am willing to let things play out, and we'll see how things play out. But, I mean, when you kick the WWE champion in his face, you got to think there's going to be some consequences to come after that. So, backstage, Sheamus is backstage, and he's back there just pacing. He's by catering, and he's pacing, and everybody's asking, well, did you kick him in the face on purpose? And he was like, of course I didn't kick him in the face on purpose. Of course it was unintentional. Caleb Brax is asking him, whoa, was it on purpose or was it unintentional? And of course he says, once again, it was unintentional. Then Drew McIntyre comes back there, and he doesn't even look too pissed, but he does say, you know what's going to happen, right? You know what's going to happen now. And then it goes to the ad break. When we come back from the ad break, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre are throwing fisticuffs all over the place, fighting all over the catering, and for some reason, one of the WWE officials, Joe Bucks, think that he can get in the middle of this and break them up. I mean, really, who the hell would want to get in between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre fighting? So he got in between them, he broke them up for a second, and then Sheamus and Drew McIntyre like, what the hell are you doing? Then they start beating the crap out of him, and they both grab him by like his waist and his shoulders, and they throw him through the table. And then those two made up after it. You know, they're brothers. They had some knot in the chest they had to get out. They had some scratches in the back they had to itch. And then they made up for it. Honestly, I am perfectly okay with that because that is totally believable for the type of dynamic that they have. Two big tough guys. You know, Sheamus kicks Drew in the face by accident, which I do think it was an accident. And then they got to fight it out. And after that, you know, they beat somebody up. They beat each other up. And then they ride off into the sunset together. Totally believable. I'm down for it. Don't break up Drew McIntyre and Sheamus just yet. Let it play out. And before the surprising match of the night, Jeff Hardy was getting ready backstage, warming up because he has a match with Bobby Lashley, the United States champion. And Riddle comes out of nowhere just like, bro, I got a really good idea for us. You know what I'm saying? But first, try some of these bro nuts. And then he said to Jeff Hardy, how about me and you become a tag team and we become the Hardy Bros? And honestly, I am actually totally here for it. I'm pretty much here for almost anything that Riddle does with the bro nuts, with the Hardy Bros. I am here for it, but Jeff Hardy's trying to concentrate on his match, and he goes out there to have what I consider actually the match of the night. Bobby Lashley and Jeff Hardy go out there and have a really good back and forth match. I don't know what this rivalry is based off. I don't think it's really based off anything, but you know, I am down to see another match with Jeff Hardy and Bobby Lashley. Like I said, this was a really good back and forth. Matt Riddle comes down to the ring because MVP's on the ringside, doing his shenanigans, doing what he's supposed to do, trying to cause distractions. Riddle comes down, takes him down to even up things. And with minus the shenanigans, this is a really clean match, but at the end, it was a little bit too much distractions, and Bobby Lashley caught Jeff Hardy in the hurt lock for the tap out, for the clean victory. Matt Riddle did try to come in the ring, try to help him out. Bobby Lashley ends up throwing Jeff Hardy into him, and then him and MVP and escape. So maybe we're going to get a tag team match between Riddle, Jeff Hardy, MVP, and Bobby Lashley. Either way, I'm down to see this rivalry continue. More Riddle, please, bro. And next up was the main event between Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, and Bray Wyatt Rogers. Now, I really like the fact that for the most part, Bray Wyatt wrestles completely different from The Fiend. Of course, you know, and also I want to say, this is the most babyface that Bray Wyatt Rogers has been. Obviously, we can see the dynamic of the story that they're setting Randy Orton up to be the master heel against, I don't even know how you make The Fiend a babyface. I really don't know how you make them a babyface, but, you know, I'll give it to you. WWE Magic, they have definitely flipped the script and made Randy Orton a heel and Bray Wyatt Rogers a believable babyface. He's out there, he's laughing, he's smiling, he's so happy to see Randy Orton, but he's still aggressive. And then as the match starts to go on, you start to see a little bit of the dark side come out of Bray Wyatt Rogers. And what I love, the climax of this match is, Bray Wyatt goes for his sister Abigail. Randy Orton reverses it. And as he reverses it, the lights start to go down, signifying that the Fiend is coming. But not like any of these other wrestlers. Randy Orton, he's a true veteran. He doesn't get distracted. Boom! Hits Bray Wyatt Rogers with the RKO. Lights go down. When the lights go up, the Fiend, this is really, really, really good stuff. He hits Bray Wyatt Rogers with the RKO, and he's laying on top of him for the pin. But then when he looks down, it's no longer Bray Wyatt Rogers, it's the Fiend. The Fiend grabs Randy Orton for a mandible claw, chokes him down to leave Raw in a really good cliffhanger. And I really like the way that Raw ended. I really like where some of their feuds are going. Bray Wyatt Rogers out, the Fiend in, and man, let me tell you something, that was a really, really smooth finish. And most importantly, what I think is the mark of any good wrestling show or any show, and makes you want to see what's going to happen next week. Now, regardless of all the other hit and misses that were on Raw, because there was some hits and there were some misses, this personally was a great way to close off Raw. You start off with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt Rogers. You ended off with Randy Orton and The Fiend. And I'm actually very interested to see what type of match they're going to have at TLC. For all intents and purposes, I know the House of Horror matches did not go over well a couple of years ago, but I think it would be to WWE's benefit if The Fiend versus Randy Orton was actually a cinematic match. You can take some of the parts from there and just make it better. You guys have gotten a lot better at your cinematic matches. I personally want to see The Fiend versus Randy Orton in a cinematic match where, yes, The Fiend does win. But I have been Richie Moon. This has been my Raw review. Now, overall, there was some hits, there was some misses, but I have to say, honestly, this was really right in between for me. This was really, the good segments were good with Cedric Alexander and the Hurt Business and the New Day, Bray Wyatt and The Fiend. I like what they're doing with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. It seems like Keith Lee might be making a heel turn. I really hope he doesn't. But the matches and things that dragged, you know, this whole comedy feud with Lana and Asuka and Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I mean, it's coming to a rightful conclusion at TLC. Maybe, you know how WWE likes to drive things into the ground. You know, WWE just really drive things into the ground. You guys have the roster. Utilize your roster. But overall, I have to give this Raw just right in the middle. It's really right in the middle. The scenes, the segments that were good were really good, and the segments that were bad were just really bad. They were just kind of mad. So for overall, I balance it out. It's a hymns. That's the mix between a hit and a miss. It was right in between for me. WWE, you have the roster, you have the creative characters to play these roles. Just utilize it and stop giving us the same damn feuds week after week after week after week. But with that being said, I'm Richie Moon. This has been my Raw review for True Heel Heat Wrestling. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit all those buttons, and you can catch me at The Richie Moon Show on all podcast platforms. You can catch me on The Richie Moon Show on YouTube. And of course, you can catch me here right at True Heel Heat Wrestling for my weekly Raw reviews. And I have some end of the year 2020 stuff coming up. So look forward to that stuff and more. And like I said, for the latest and greatest in wrestling move, look out for True Heel Heat Wrestling. I am Richie Moon. That has been my Raw review for Hit and Miss. And I'll catch you later. Peace.